Why don't we call the meeting to order at 9:37. President Bill McGowan, Lisa McGonigal, Dan Coughlin, and Paul Kearse. And excuse me, our next session will be on the 24th of May. Does it look good for everybody?
Yes, sir. 9:30.
Yep. Okay, so would you say it was Colleen?
Yes,
Lisa?
I just promoted her to panelist.
Yeah.
So she's the director of the Cohasset Housing Authority, and they had a water leak at a valve before entering the building, and so they're requesting an abatement. Colleen, you have the floor right now.
Good morning. Yep, I am asking for an abatement on this. The water bill, when we got it in, was really high. And I just felt like with our expenses that I was going to request the abatement because the water that we paid for was before it even entered the building. So it didn't go into the sewer system. It kind of went into the ground. And as soon as we were made aware of where the leak was, we did have it repaired. IREA Brothers had to come in. Thank goodness they had an opening because they came in within like 3 days and dug everything up. And we had to replace, I think, 4 shut-off valve things around that building. Just that with these account numbers, I don't really know. We don't know what meters, where they're located. So we actually had to wait till somebody heard it. And that's how we found out where it was. And took care of it right away.
This this has nothing to do with the news construction.
Correct. This is absolutely at the top of the hill there.
Okay.
At one of the elderly buildings, it was nothing with the new, and that new construction's been done for about a year now.
Okay. So who calculated the abatement?
So I tried working with it. I had Jim Curley try work with it, and then Lisa and I worked on it together.
Okay. So Lisa, you're comfortable with the 962.32?
Yes, it's the average. It's the water use minus the average use, and it came out to 962.32.
And we've got a receipt of repair and all that. I mean, so just in case we ever get questioned on, so we know something did break. Is that true?
Yes, I submitted a copy of the invoice. I think
Okay.
of the day it was changed, and I think I submitted a copy of a change order from a contractor that had to do with the new shut off on the actual building.
Yeah, that's all attached here, Bill.
Yeah, okay. I haven't had a chance to look at it, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got it up on my screen. So I'd like to make a motion to grant the abatement of $962.32 to the Cohasset Housing Authority.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And we'll do a roll call, and Mr. Sawchuk is with us, yeah. Bill McGowan, aye.
Paul Kearse, aye.
Wayne Sawchuk, aye.
All right, thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
it.
awesome. Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate taking care of that, and I'm going to sign out and let you enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Very good. Thank you.
Colleen, you'll get a letter in the mail.
Okay.
Saying about the abatement.
All right, perfect. All right, thanks again. Appreciate it.
All right.
Welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, so next on our agenda is a Cook Estate update.
So I'm going to promote everyone. So far I have Sean Hardy, Steve Sullivan, Ally Babcock, and Jean Livingston. We have an Alfred Morgan and John McGoldrick. I'm not sure what subject matter they're here for.
I think Morgan's the 390 CJC probably, right?
All right, I think I've promoted everyone.
Well, I would ask if Sean Hardy could give an update on what's transpired in the process.
So I guess where we stand for the Cook Estates is that we had the annual town meeting and the article did pass for the sewer district to be extended to include the Cook Estates. So with that said, I guess we need to understand what the next steps are that we need to go through. I know of what your process is from your department. Is this now going into the hands of the sewer department? Does it stay in your hands for some time until it's conveyed to the town as sewer? Are you still being involved, or?
Who are you directing this to, Paul?
I was asking you,
Oh, me, okay.
So Board of Health has been kind of running this because of the failed septic system. And now that it's been approved to expand the sewer district, I just want to understand the process moving forward in order for us to get the sewer moving now that it's been approved by town meeting. If you were still going to be driving a lot of the meetings and the process.
Yeah, I understand. No, I actually feel like I was just going to come to these meetings and just to hear the progress, but I assume really it is kind of now in, Sean's hands and in the sewer commission's hands. And I'm hoping that it can go quickly and they can actually do construction this summer, while the Dare Hill School is out, and they can put the line in down their driveway.
Okay, so you're going to continue to monitor the site anyway, right? Because they're still on septic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So definitely just more of a monitoring role, but and just tuning in here to find out how it's progressing. Because officially we gave them a deadline.
Right.
Technically, but we don't have a lot of push at this point. I mean, a lot of I can't do much to help it along. So I'm just kind of here listening, and if there is anything we can do to help, I will definitely help. But I feel like now it's kind of in Sean's hands.
Great. I know from a mechanical standpoint, on the kind of administrative side, we're waiting on Cook Estates to reach an agreement with the abutter. And once that agreement is reached, then we kind of move on to the design and development phase for the sewer commission, where we start to review the plans and get the plans approved. And the other administrative piece is our attorney's going to have to, draft an agreement with the Cook Estates as well, similar to what we did for CJC. And in place as we start to move forward. So I think that Bill and Wayne, I don't know if you have any additional comments or any comments towards that, but I kind of see those three elements.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think it's in, Cook Estates' hands to give us, has the survey been completed? Do they have plans that we can review? All of that sort of thing. So they're gonna have to get obviously a building permit, but yeah, we're waiting for plans.
Now,
But I think, Paul, I also think you're right. We're gonna have to have an agreement with them as far as cost and all that, so.
yeah, because we, the privilege and hookup fee has to be calculated. Yep. And put into the agreement. And I know that we were kind of waiting for Cook to finalize their agreement with the abutter. And once that's in place, then we could start our agreement, because I think our agreement is the whole of their agreement.
Maybe we can ask somebody from Cook to give us an update on their survey, their escrow agreement, and whatever else is happening on their side.
I'd just say quickly on the legal, this is Steve Sullivan, Chittenden Lane. So we have a draft agreement in place with the abutters, our attorney with their attorney working on that. And I believe that was sent to town council or is in the process for review on that piece. So that is proceeding along.
When you say town council, you're talking about the one that reports to the town manager and selectmen?
I'm not quite sure, Paul. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So
It's the same firm, so we can have Greg look at that.
yeah. Okay, and I'll follow up on our end to make sure where it went on that. And now the survey is done. I'll turn it over to Sean. Update on where we are on the engineering.
Yeah, we received the survey, towards the end of last week and starting to look through that, piecing together, the route and things like that. One thing I knew, so because I'm working on another project in Weymouth that is similar, we've come to find out that E1s are like back ordered through October. And I'm not sure if pump wise, you guys are okay with an alternate to that. We are using an alternate in Weymouth. I just don't know how, if E1 is what it has to be, or can it be different? I just found that out yesterday afternoon. So,
What is the alternative?
I can send a cut sheet. They sent me something late last night that I will forward it to you guys.
There's not a temporary until they come in October.
No, because the housing and everything, it comes as a package similar to an E1. I think it's a comparable thing. I just don't know if you guys are married to it has to be E1 or can it be, it's the same, it comes, it's the package, it goes in the ground, it's got the rails, it's got everything the same. It's just someone else is, I guess, able to make pumps faster than E1 can make pumps. But I will forward it.
I think that they're responsible for the pump going forward. So if they're, if they have a hardship or something, then have this, get the documentation on the pump they're going to put in. I don't see an issue with not using an E1 in order to get, I'd love to have this done while the school is not in session. So that we're not interrupting, the traffic flow and everything else, and the backhoes being out in maybe going by one of the streets, one of the driveways or whatever. I'd love to have all that, that part of the job finished before school starts.
John, this is for the gravity line that's coming in. Is that the pump station you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Again.
they're because they own the pumps and will be maintaining the pumps. I agree with Wayne. We could probably use an alternate. The only thing that needs to be checked is the pressure head. Make sure it can overcome if other E1s are operating at the same time. So if it is a true comparable pump, it should work. Just send the cut over. We'll take a peek at it too.
Yep, we just got to size it out first, but yeah, okay. And like I said, other than that, so we did receive the survey. I just found that out last night, which is why I kind of brought it up now about the pumps. Just want to make sure we're going in the same direction. So we are under design. As Steve said, I think that I saw an email this morning of a draft for the easement. So things look like they're starting to, gain some momentum here. We'll push forward through with design and start forward and you guys as quickly as we can.
We would want some protection on the contractor doing the work in terms of making sure that he has adequate insurance and all those things before you start work, because we don't want something to happen on the town land or that's going to affect the schools, right?
So Jean, you have a question?
I do. So you're saying that you want, agreed, some general liability. Do you know what you're looking for as far as underlying and umbrella limits?
Sure, it's whatever you're comfortable with, but
It's really the town. Typically, you have $1 million underlying limit, but some towns don't accept less than $5 million umbrella. So I just wanted to know what you're looking for up front before we look into different contractors.
Let's ask Michelle if in the town hall, as the procurement person, she must have that information.
Okay,
Hey,
Brian.
Wayne, typically we do 3 million and 1 million
Oh.
on, on anything from plow contractors to other similar contractors.
okay.
So I wonder, Sean, if you're, I don't know who's sort of running the whole project here for Cook Estate, but I'm wondering if you can give us a schedule. Okay, when are you going to start, the whole 9 yards?
Well, design wise, I'd say we're, couple, 2-3 weeks out, to get you guys something that is in the form to start reviewing. And depending on what those comments would be, I guess would be a little bit of a back and forth. I know just from interacting with the Cook Estates, and there's certainly a number of them here on the call, that they're interested in getting going sooner rather than later. So, selecting a contractor, and like you said, ideally being in construction, July, August before school, and I think it's doable.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll address it just to the Cook, whoever wants to accept it on behalf of the Cook Estate. It would be good for us to have a schedule.
Yeah, no, that's understood. And
Yeah, I mean, what, Sean, in your experience right now, since you're doing projects in the South Shore, what is your weather vane on how long it takes to do something like this? Or is this going to be something that starts in, say, June or July 1, and it takes 4 to 6 weeks or 8 to 10 weeks, or?
I don't think it's in anywhere near the 8 to 10 weeks. I would think it's probably less than 4. There's not a whole lot of, roadway work where we are going to be in the pavement through the Cook Estates. But once, it's landscaping, it's not saw cutting pavement. Once we get up into the neighbor's property, we're trying to stay as best we can through lawn areas on the school. I do think we are going to have to be under the driveway as we come towards the actual pump station, but I think a lot of this can be it's kind of just open and go. There's not a lot of pipe cover. It's a pressure main. We're not worried about gravity. We're not shooting inverts. I think it can go fairly quickly.
So a goal of getting this completed to the surface, I guess, by the time school starts is reasonable?
I believe so.
Okay.
I could just make a recommendation on that. If maybe it's wise to start at the pump station and work your way back to Cook Estates, so that, especially if we start a little bit later in the summer, just so that we know that the schoolwork is done.
I think that's absolutely what to do.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Okay, I want to go back, Brian, since you're on again. Are the contractors required to post a bond to the town as well, in addition to the insurance?
So this is a little bit different, that they're not our contractor, but let me check on that with Michelle. I mean, if they were working for us, yeah, it would be a performance bond and a payment bond, and also prevailing wage and all this stuff. But those type of requirements, all those requirements aren't required for a private contractor. So let me check.
My only concern is that he's going to be on school property, right?
Yeah. So I mean, the liability insurance is the main thing. If he damages anything, but I mean, really, the performance and the payment bond, that's all kind of Cook Estates bag.
Okay. Thank you.
Generally
Paul,
speaking, sorry,
I think
generally,
the contractor should be a licensed drain layer in the town of Cohasset. It's like, working on the sewer.
Okay.
So, that would be a
There's a
requirement.
list, there's a list of them on the website, or I can send you a list if you need to.
but
Right.
historically in the past too, new contractors coming in town to do larger projects simply get registered as drain layers as well.
Right.
Say that again, Dan?
I said, even though they may not be on the drain layers list currently, contractors who are doing larger projects would typically come to town and get licensed as drain layers. So they are in compliance with the rules and regs.
Okay. Okay, so Sean, if you guys don't have one of the ones that are on our list, then they'll need to come in and fill out all the paperwork for that.
Yep, that's a very simple thing, so.
Yep.
And that has its insurance requirements and bond on it too.
We will do that.
Okay, anything else?
Brian, in terms of needing permits, is it just a building permit or does it need other permits as well?
So there'll be a street opening permit with DPW. And the bill, you know, I don't think we need a building permit.
No.
I'll check with John Hallen, but we're not really
A
touching it.
trench permit? No?
Trench permit, yeah, trench permit, not really a building permit. And then that goes with the DPW street opening permit. So
Oh, okay.
I
I
think
thought
if
that
you
was
do the
from
street
John
opening
Allen.
permit, it goes through every department, gets signed off, including by, you know, John Hallen.
Okay.
Do we need to do anything to access the school property, or is that covered under the DPW permit?
That would be covered under DPW. So I mean, along with, so that application, you pull at the DPW 91 Cedar Street office, and you submit that with the full plan where it shows the layouts of excavation within the public property. And then that will be routed through every department, get signed off, and then we'll issue the permit once it's signed off by everybody. And all the part of that sign off is utility markouts for water, sewer, and anything else town related, drainage. So we're not on DigSafe. So that's our capture for utilities, town utilities.
Okay.
Yeah, where this whole project is not within 100 feet of any wetland, right?
No.
No,
Okay. No, I didn't think so. Yeah, that's why we were going through the neighbor. 'Cause that would require Concom. Yeah.
We have a couple of hands up. I have Jean Livingston.
I just had a quick question. Does the town have an appointed person that works co-jointly, such as an omnibudsman or a project manager that works with the construction company that we ultimately hire to do this work? Or is it the DPW? Who is it at the town that's the contact person?
Dan Coughlin is our engineer,
Okay,
would be the one that's going to review the plan and may make some spot inspections on our behalf.
okay, so he wouldn't be on the site daily. He would be,
Not necessarily, no.
okay, okay, thank you.
And Brian, you know, Brian's department has a role in this as well.
Yeah, and DPW typically goes out and does inspections on trenching and utility work. So we'll be out there as well.
Okay.
And Ally has questions.
Hi, I just wanted to thank Pam for that wonderful presentation that you made at town meeting, and to the Sewer Commission for speaking on our behalf. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And Steve Sullivan, you did a great job too.
Thanks. Yeah, kind of had the discussion I expected with other residents, so I'm glad we got it through. Appreciate all the support, Pam, getting us through this, and the Sewer Commission support. And no one's more anxious than the residents here to get this thing
I
wrapped
know.
up as quickly as possible. So I appreciate the support. And
I do have one other question, if it's all right. My Wi-Fi is not very stable right now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. With the timing between the engineering plans and town review and the time we go out for bidding on this. I feel like we are kind of rubbing up very to the end of the summer. And a lot of these construction companies have full schedules. In the event we're not able to secure someone to do this work during the summer, what is the plan there? If we do the piping, as you just mentioned, at the school first, and we do a connection to Cook Estates in the fall, as long as we're not interfering with the flow of traffic actually on school property, is that acceptable?
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue. I think once someone bids on it and the contractor begins, I don't think there's a delay in construction unless the materials don't show up. But I think it'd be a continuous flow of work being done on the property.
Yeah, as far as the public property, as long as you have your trenching, your pipe, your backfill done, your restoration, including, final pavement on any of the access roads, I think you'll be in good shape if you wanted to do the rest of the cross-country stuff up to Cook Estates, after September 1st or 6th. Well, I don't know when school starts.
Okay, thank you.
It's usually right after Labor Day.
Anything else on Cook Estate? No? Okay. We have a discussion on Elm Street, or an update.
I went over Elm Street with Dan Coughlin, and he can make a quick little report on what we'd like to go back to the developer and indicate what we want. Dan, you want to talk for a moment?
So anyways, I did distribute a new set of comments on the plans that I distributed to everybody. The current design doesn't really work. The slopes don't work. The inverts don't work. So they're going to have to go back and redesign that slightly. This doesn't seem to be an issue with the concept of relocation. I know Carmen came back with a couple of comments. I did send them to her as well. I don't think she's on the call as of yet, but the two concerns or the two additional things she was looking at was providing cleanouts instead of manholes. And I said that wouldn't be acceptable for the main line. And the other thing was they had intended to connect their oil water separators, which collects drainage water from the garage, and tie that into the sewer. And that's a concern. We usually don't allow floor drains, with snow melt, runoff, oil and grease to be connected to the sewer. So that's something she'll have to look at a little bit more. In terms of the other notes on the plans, excuse me one second. We added a bunch of comments, regarding some of the things we discussed at the last meeting, CCTV inspection, some of the piping details. I was able to go back and look at the old II footage or CCTV work that we did have. The pipe that does cross the stream was updated, I think, back when they were doing some work on the channel. And that's all PVC. So it's not all clay. The pipe crossing the stream is PVC. The other portion is clay. However, it looked in good shape at that time, but I think still requiring new CCTV inspection of the pipeline is a good move. In terms of some of the other things, I mean, they were mostly minor comments. There was a concern regarding ultimately the connection of those additional services. There's 3 services that run across their property to the abutting properties. And Wayne brought up a good point yesterday when I discussed with him. The easement that they are proposing to us does not extend for that area where those services are running on their property. So part of my comments is basically to extend the easement up to include those. So there's no issues about, who gets serviced or, removing the service from their property or whatever. everything can stay in place the way it is. But generally, we submitted our comments to Cavanaro, and hopefully we can get some comments back. One of the aspects that I was a little concerned with was the covers themselves for the manholes. This is a flood prone area. There is a lot of high groundwater in here as well. And I think we should be using watertight covers in this area. And, you know, ultimately, if you look at the floodplains, you could have as much as 8 feet of water on some of these locations. So it has to be a good quality watertight cover, and I had made some general recommendations for some. But, you know, generally at this point in time, I've sent these back to them. We'll see what they have for responses back. It looks feasible the way it is. The only concern, the only real concern with the design currently is basically the oil water separators coming into the system. And Brian, I don't know how you've dealt with that in the past. If you allow those oil water separators to drain to the drainage system. But you know, either that or they need to go to some type of on-site infiltration.
Yeah, no gutters or floor drains allowed.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
thanks.
Yeah, how's that addressed across the street then? Because that's all underground parking as well over there. I mean, if they put it in this building, they would have put it in the other one. So I don't know if anyone has seen the plans for across the street from Elm.
Yeah, I have not.
Yeah, because that's all 100% underground parking.
I haven't reviewed, but I can ask, actually, Lisa, could you ask John Hallen to see if he's got plans you could email?
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, that would be a concern.
Yeah. And you said the easement, because we originally, when looking at the top view of the plan, there was a pathway from Elm Street to the back of the property. On the left side, you were going to walk the property and see if that was adequate to get in and out of there. And then they were going to ask for an easement on the right side of the property towards the Legion.
Yeah, the
So
one on
did
the
you-
right side though terminates on another piece of property, doesn't extend to the street.
Okay,
So this would, you know, normally we would just traverse the property to get to these manholes. So
Yeah.
the easement does have to provide some access through their garage area in emergency base. But
it's kind of
the
a
other-
height, there was a height limitation.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I mean, our only accessible route was what we have right now, and that's the one going to the side of the property. And
Did you look at that, Brian, at all? I knew you were going to
I
walk.
did, yeah. So the current easement, the one that's a couple of properties down from 87, is not. It's not accessible, drivable. There's fence, plantings.
Yeah.
You know, without major disruption. I'll put it that way. I mean,
Okay.
there's a pathway if you drove a bulldozer through there, but you're going to wreck a lot of private installations.
Yeah.
Right. And the 10-foot setback that they have on their own property, if you're looking from the stream to the back of the building, has several large trees on it. And I just can't imagine that they're going to cut those down and make a driveway on that side of the building. So that isn't a way to go in. So I think the drive is going to be, through the park is going to have to be what's done.
I mean, that area that Brian looked at, I mean, theoretically, that is your easement. You can go in there and take down things and put things up, but on an emergency base, it's not very effective.
Right. I think you know, the easement through the garage, if we were going to CCTV this, we'd have to, you know, have a site meeting with the contractor and either, you know, figure out the logistics of going from the straight manhole from the plant down to this one at the corner of the building, or you know, getting through the building and accessing this manhole. So I think it's feasible. It's just it would just take a little bit more logistics than today driving in you know, on an asphalt driveway.
Right. And there is a door, of course, that goes through the garage. So I assume they're going to have parking in the back of the building that isn't not in part of the garage. So
Yeah, Sorry, I thought we were looking at, I guess I'm just opening on my screen, but yeah, there are 4, it looks like maybe 6 spaces behind the building that you access by driving through the entirety of the building.
That's designated as a gravel parking lot, so.
So the next step in this is to wait to hear back from Carbonaro on 87, and then Brian, you want to review the plans for what is the one across the street? Is that 124 or something like that, or 128? I forget what the number is. And to see what the garage drains are looking like if they're going into sewer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a general concept. No drains, whether they're gutters or floor drains or storm drains, go into the sewer. It is legitimate to go into storm drains, but with oil water separators if necessary.
Okay, so I think I misunderstood you. You do allow oil water separators to then drain into the drainage system?
Yes, the storm drain system, not the sewer. I thought you were asking about the sewer system. No, yeah.
No, I was just curious on the drainage system.
Yeah,
That's
on the drainage system, yes, we do allow that.
So I mean, basically what they could do is they could pump up to a drain. They could
Yeah.
pump back up to the street if they need to.
But they do need the separators though.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
How often are the separators emptied in terms of getting what they're collecting?
No real set rule, but you can put them on a schedule as part of the approvals, or Brian would do that because it discharges to the drainage system. I mean, generally
It's,
speaking, quarterly is the most aggressive I've seen.
Okay.
I think we're all set, Bill.
All right. Everyone good? All right, so we'll go on to update on CJC.
I spent some time with Dan on this also on the responses, and also I think we should just look at the couple of items on the permit that was granted on the project. And because the first question I had on the Mass Dot permit is that they require a 3-year performance bond for the amount of $843,700 required before construction starts. The life of the performance bond shall continue for 3 years beyond the date the Mass Highway signs off on the permit. Now, I'm assuming that I don't think that because the town is the permit holder, that the town has to put that money up. I think the developer has to provide that bond, or their contractor. And so that's something I think that should be checked on.
Can you confirm that, Mark?
Yes, the contractor will supply a performance bond
Okay.
from
Great.
MassDOT to meet those conditions.
Okay.
The only other aspect I think on the Route 3A is, and we had these discussions previously because it's in a zone A and abuts Peppermint Brook, is the manhole covers. Mark, I sent you a quick email yesterday just to try to confirm. I think at one of the meetings previously it said that they were going to be watertight, but I just wanted to confirm that because it didn't really appear to be on the plan.
Well, we called for MassDOT approved castings, and they've changed those castings to be locking covers. They have to put bolt down covers because the speed limits are over 45 miles an hour. And they issued an engineering directive in 2016 requiring these bolt down covers. And as part of that engineering directive, and they refer to a plate number, which we do, same covers in our plans. Their engineering directive does not allow gasket covers. And I can share that screen with you if you like, and so you can read that paragraph live if you like.
Okay, but these will be bolt down covers? you're saying?
These would bolt down covers because that's a requirement of MassDOT. Since we're in MassDOT property right of way, we have to follow their regulations.
I think that's a good, I think that's just the solution that we wanted.
Yeah, these covers are milled. So they're milled down, they're bolted down, whether they're either hardware would get stainless steel or galvanized. And they're locking, and they have to be locking because they had a problem on 93 and they changed their protocol or their regulations.
So Brian, do you have any experience with those in town at all? Do we have any?
On locking covers, so we got bolt down covers with gaskets on Border Street recently, and when I was at the state, I've seen a variety of different bolt down covers. I don't know if it's possible to get a casting that has an interior pan for more water tightness, if that goes against their regulations, but and I'm not sure why they don't allow a gasket, but you know, the gasket is just an extra seal on the bolt.
That is true. It is part of their guidelines and their directive, and it clearly states gaskets and other sealing devices will not be allowed under
So-
the bolt down man. This is engineering directive E-16-003.
Sure. So does that include interior sealing devices? You know what I mean? If you have a 24-inch cover and you have a 19-inch or something interior pan that just rests on a shelf, you know, those are also watertight.
Yeah, we're to change their regulations to do something special is difficult. They follow their protocols and they stick by them.
Mike, I think what Brian's talking about is the interior covers. You know what I mean? So it's basically a 2-cover system. These are like the old watertight manholes. And you'd have basically a bar with a set screw to lock down the inner cover. And that can be gasketed because it's not a wearing surface. And then you can still have the bolt down top. It's something that, you know, I think should be looked into because that way you will provide both.
Yeah, so you're talking about a catch basin below the lockdown cover.
You're talking about an interior cover below the top cover. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically you open up this larger cover and you're looking in at another cover that's a couple of inches below it. And that sits on a smaller
gasketed seal.
shelf.
Yeah. Now that's created problems sometimes because it holds water, and then you got frost in the wintertime, and that the water that's in that pan right below the cover is frozen, and you have issues with that. And I've seen so many times where someone goes and puts a hole in the middle of it so it drains out, so that it doesn't have the ice problem in the wintertime.
I think those are the inserts that you're talking about.
Yep.
This is basically part of the casting. So it is a cast iron or ductile iron interior cover.
Yeah, but what's the real purpose of it?
It has a gasket and it seals itself to the rim, so that it is watertight on the interior. Yeah.
Won't it fill water up to the underneath of the cover?
It will. You know, if there's enough that gets by the top cover, but generally I haven't seen the castings crack.
So why don't we
look inside?
Why don't we install what Mass DOT requires, and then, you know, we can see if this issue arises. I don't know, Brian, in your experience on 3A now, or throughout town, if we've had any major concerns.
Yeah, I mean, I think 3A is pretty, as far as snow and ice removal, they're a lot better than we are on local roads because they have more money to spend. But as far as, you know, waterproof manholes, we don't have them everywhere on gravity.
We do have them on some of the gravity mains, actually on Route 3A, just before they enter Veterans. Those, you know, the design that was done as part of the Veterans pumping station includes watertight locking covers on 3A.
Well,
let's not installed back in 2000.
So what I'm hearing is this is kind of a no choice, no problem situation. If Mass DOT says this is what has to be done, why are we arguing about it? Not even arguing, just discuss. I mean, it is what it is.
Right. So we can just address any issues that arise, I guess, on a maintenance level. when it occurs.
That's
Okay.
my recommendation. For me to go up and provide something other than a MassDOT recommended casting, I can't do that. From
Okay, so
a design perspective, because we are in, they own the roadway, so they have rights to the roadway.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I guess the project is a tenant or a guest in their right of way.
Okay, I would agree with just moving forward then.
Me too.
And these are bolt down, they will seal up with dirt and debris over time. And they will be difficult sometimes to get off. Other than a normal manhole, we have to hit it with a hammer a couple times. We've all done that before, where we had to use a sledgehammer to break the rust free in the dirt.
Any other updates?
Yeah, Wayne, I was just going to ask Wayne if you had anything else you wanted to.
Well, I've got, let's see now. We do have some responses. I guess one was the covers and stuff. Anything else, Dan, that we discussed that we
Not really for the 3A work. I know we had talked briefly about, how one set of the sewer covers were in the center of the lane on the south side, but they seem to favor the wheel area on the north side. And, but I really don't have an issue if MassDOT approved it in that fashion. So that was all I think we had for Route 3A.
Yeah. And you were concerned that a cover could actually come up.
Right, which is why we were looking for the locking ones. But
Right, that we got the locking one, so that takes care of that. And then I guess, let's see. I guess that's it for right this minute.
Okay.
yeah, we had some comments that we've been going through with Wayne on the onsite. We had drafted those back up in January, but they hadn't been distributed because of the payment issues. But we're preparing those again, and those will be going out. I think since Mark is here, it's probably a good thing to discuss. I think a lot of the responses that had come back from Mark, were indicating, well, it's not in the rules and regs, so we don't really have to do it. And I had a little concern regarding that, because we do have an agreement, and the agreement states that standards as may be defined by for the project. So just because it's not in the rules and regs, I mean, those are dated from 2000. They need some updating. We're working on that as well. But, we're looking at requirements for the project in order to make sure that the project is not leaky, is in good quality, and doesn't add II to our system. And generally speaking, we don't get involved with a lot of the tanks and other things on the site because it's not part of our normal sewer connection. But we have required, it's in the agreement, and we will require all the tanks to be inspected and tested. And simply having, someone sign off and saying they look good is not sufficient. They need to be tested, and they need to be inspected and repaired and sealed if needed, if there's any staining or leaks evident. So there were a couple of concerns regarding that. And just to make it clear, you're not just looking at the rules and regs. It's if we have additional requirements because of this project, they also need to be complied to.
So Dan, we just need to have those requirements defined that you say are in addition to what's in the rules and regs, so that he could plan those requirements into the project.
Right, and a lot of those were presented back in October with our comments.
Okay.
It's just then they were basically discarded because they weren't in the rules and regs. So, I mean, we'll be going back with a response to Mark's last set of comments. And like I said, I was discussing those with Wayne as well.
Okay, so if we can, so you're going to make a fresh list of the additional requirements for the on-site, not the 3A piece?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's standard
from a
stuff.
designer's perspective, I need to understand what the town is looking for, because we follow the rules and regs that are published. So if the town is looking for something different, I need to understand that to meet those conditions. And that's something I need to bring forward to the client too. So the client understands those conditions.
Right, and like I said, most of them were detailed back in October, but we'll reiterate those again.
Yeah, as for the testing of the manholes, the existing structures and so forth, that is covered by a general note on the plans right now. So there's no problem there.
Yeah, no, it's not the manholes and structures that are new. It's
the existing ones too.
It's the existing tanks.
There is a note currently on the general notes on that page that speaks to that language.
Okay. In the town, we, obviously you do need to coordinate with us. We do want to inspect that when the testing's being occurring. So we need to have that scheduled. The other aspect is they didn't provide final connection drawings for the building 400, and that's a concern. We only received the connection drawings with the interim connection that DEP was looking for the septic. Obviously, the agreement and the approval of the connection is that all of the buildings would be connected to the sewer. So we do need to see plans for building 400. And I know you said that was by others, but whoever that others is, we need to condition on that.
Okay, understood. That's something Mr. Stasko and I are speaking with. We're not currently under contract to do that work. That's something that Mr. Stasko and the tenant needs to coordinate at this moment in time. Not saying it's not going to be done by us. It's just something that's not under our contract or agreement with Mr. Stasko at the moment.
Right, and the commission is not typically does not approve a partial plan. So that's why we're looking for
Okay, fair. I understand where you're coming from, but I'm relaying the message from our obligation right now and our charge.
Okay.
Okay, so when we give you the list that we are updating from the October list, Dan will also put a requirement in there for the additional plans for building 400.
Sure.
Okay, and then it could be addressed at that time.
And the only other element I wanted to bring up to the board is in the agreement, we talked about a single point of flow monitoring as it leaves the property. And I understand how they did, I think they probably did a more economical layout and did 3 smaller pumping stations. So basically they're doing flow monitoring, or what I believe will be flow monitoring at 3 different points in the system. So it's just a little bit different from the agreement, and I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. It may be a little bit more difficult to kind of tie them all together, but we do have requirements for, reporting flows and max day flows. So that's going to have to be something that the developer or the owner of the property generates and then submits to the commission.
Will that adversely affect what the total amount going into the system is?
It will not adversely affect the total amount going into the system. It just may be harder to get a more accurate total or peak flow when you're dealing with 3 different flow meters versus a single one.
And the 3 flow meters would cover the 4 buildings?
3 buildings.
3 buildings.
3 buildings.
Yes. 1 pumping station for each one, and I believe is what is going to be proposed.
Okay.
Again, we don't have anything for 400 yet.
May I ask a question? If currently the drawings show flow meters right now for building 380 and building 390, separate flow meters per pump station. If you have 3 buildings and you have three flow meters, and each are water metered separately, why would you want a 4th flow meter for sanitary leaving the site?
Well, the whole purpose of a single meter leaving the site was basically to capture any II that might be present in the flow. So, again, I think we can work with the 3 meters. It's a change from the agreement, and I'm bringing it to the board's attention.
Okay. I'm only saying from an engineering perspective that you add up the numbers and you can come up, and the flow meters should match up with each building, so you get a more accurate flow per building. Or sanitary.
Right. But if it's not the last thing before leaving the property, you could be missing some II influences that you wouldn't pick up.
In the pipes that we're having on installed are force mains, so they're pressure rated, and they will be tested.
Right, you also have gravity pipes as well, though.
Small amounts. Only short leaders coming from the building to the pump station. So there's not a lot of gravity.
Yeah, I think 380 crosses the parking lot. A good portion is gravity. And then you're running along 400 as well, but, you know, regardless. I
Yeah,
think
so we're
we can
getting
work
some
with the 3
semantics there.
meters.
That's something that we can work out. And I'd be happy to talk about that later. Once I see your comments and what you're looking for, we can talk about that in more detail.
Yeah. One final element while we have you is, I guess, the any field design changes. You know, minor stuff probably isn't an issue, but if there are significant design changes, you had mentioned that you'd file them later on to the commission and inform them. But if you are making, you know, significant design changes, I think that the board needs to, and we need to know about it in advance or as it's happening.
Correct. If I agree with you, if you move something, if you have to move the pump station a few feet left or right, or a line a couple of feet either way, that's a minor change. But if we're going to change the physical location of something dramatically, I agree with you.
Yeah, if you see you have an obstruction or something you can't go around and you're making some design change, then that needs to be reported so we can.
Understood.
Okay.
So Mark, you know, based on where we are with the approvals of DOT and Dan getting an updated list for you, and at some point the property owner will get us plans for 400 CJC. Could you give us a fresh project plan? I think of where we are and where you think you're going to start. So we had talked about, you know, sometime in June, July, you know, starting to move forward physically with getting things done. So if you could give us an idea on a project plan of where you see things falling. I know it's a guesswork at this point, but.
Sure. So I think the charge right now is to start work on Route 3A proper. We have the permit now. So what the next steps are with that, if I may, since the town is the true applicant for the access permit, the town needs to make a request to the DOT for a pre-construction meeting. I'd be happy to do that and make the request. So that way MassDOT has this pre-construction meeting. They invite all parties involved, meaning the fire, sewer, water departments, sewer departments, DPW, Conservation Commission, and other interested parties that MassDOT has their own internal. And they conduct that meeting. And it's usually done at the District 5 in Taunton, but they've been doing things remotely lately. So they'll set up that meeting. And they won't set up that meeting until the performance bond is provided to them. And we're working on that. Mr. Stasko and contractors and so forth will be providing MassDOT information. And I've been uploading, our office has been uploading everything to their system. It's called SHAPS.
Okay.
System. It's you upload it to their system. It's documented, and it goes to the DD or the district highway director. So,
okay, so
if I may, I can make that request for a pre-construction meeting once we provide the bond.
So, Bill, is that something we want to approve at this point for him to go ahead and file that request?
I would say so. Yeah, why not?
Provided bond in place.
Yeah.
And everything will be channeled through Lisa, the documents that we share with the DOT. I also have to share these new sewer drawings with the Conservation Commission agent, just to make sure that the Conservation Commission folks are all on the same page as we are. We're all working from the same set.
Okay. So we agree as a commission for you to go ahead and file that. What I'm asking for is some email updates to Lisa as to, you know, when you request it and when you receive it, and then when you think the next steps are going to occur, so that we could understand the participation level that we may need.
Yep, we will. And as I learn more about from MassDOT, when they set the meetings and so forth, I will certainly keep Lisa informed as we learn things.
Yeah. Great.
As through the process. And then we'll be on site monitoring the work, for the installation. And we will probably have at least monthly meetings on site.
Okay. And that's something we would probably have Dan attend as well.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Just from the perspective, I think, we need to get a schedule as far as what the work is, because we will be doing periodics out there as well. I know you're doing full resident inspections out there, but we do periodics. It's not just at the monthly meetings.
Yeah, MassDOT will require the schedule. So once the contractor puts that schedule together, we will share that probably at the pre-construction meeting. We'll have a copy for that meeting. We'll need that schedule for the meeting. Yeah. And the contractor, as part of the permit from MassDOT, they have a 90-day rest period, meaning that you do all your permit, your temporary work, meaning you put your sewer lines in, you bring it up to temporary patch, and before they allow the permit, the final mill and pave, there's a 90-day rest period for settlement, unless they can prove the compaction was done properly. And that's something that will have to be addressed directly with MassDOT, because they need to approve something less than 90 days.
Okay. Do you have an idea of what time it's going to take to install this? Meaning how many? Yeah.
Months, about probably 2 months so to install. 6 to 8 weeks roughly to install the sewer main, roughly. And then might be a couple of weeks after that for the final paving and the striping and the restoration work, related restoration work.
Okay.
And it's part of the early action item is that we have to, or the team needs to coordinate with MassDOT, since we're close to the signals at the plaza. Part of the permit, if you read the permit, there's a requirement that we have to reach out to MassDOT for the signal department to confirm there's no loop detectors in the area of work zone. And I don't think there are any loop detectors, because we are far enough away from the signal to the south, but that's a requirement they put into their access permit.
Just one final note, Mike. We would still like to get the inspection reports and the photos from the on-site work that was done.
Yes.
That wasn't inspected.
We can get those this week. I have them ready.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else, CJC?
Good.
No? Okay. So, Lisa, do we have anything else? I know we already did Cohasset Historic Society. Do we have any other abatements or?
Oh, no, we didn't do the Cohasset Historical Society yet.
Oh, I thought that was Colleen. Okay.
That
Oh, that was your housing. That was housing. Okay, never mind. That was housing.
From Glenn Pratt.
Yep.
He's requesting that that the sewer commission releases the restrictive covenant that's on that property or Elm Street.
Yeah, so I think it's technically a deed restriction, right? They can't have any indoor plumbing, and we've already approved them to hook up the sewer.
Yeah.
So we'd have to remove the deed restriction.
Yeah. So I make a motion that we sign a release of the deed restriction as it relates to plumbing in the building.
I'll second that. And we'll do a roll call. Bill McGowan, aye.
All Kears, aye.
Wayne Sawchuck, aye. And Lisa, so if you can get the form and you're a notary, I can come by or anybody else and sign off on that.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I do, if you don't mind. Just real quick, we had the town meeting, which I think went well. We had a couple of people question where the end of the sewer connection is, Ripley versus Sawyer. Wayne and I didn't have an answer readily available at the time. So I think we could just look into that in the next couple of weeks to find out, where the district actually ends for Little Harbor was the big question. And we might as well look at the circumference of what that is. And then the second thing is, I talked about, we're talking with Situate moving forward, and talking about regional plans. And being new to the sewer commission, I wanted to, first find out what our own wastewater treatment plan is. And when I was looking to some of the prior documents, the big regional sewer plan that's on our website with 865 pages, that was done through a grant for all of the towns to review this whole tri-town system. Prior to that, in town meeting of 2018, Article 11, we voted to spend $85,000 for Cohasset Regional Sewer Study. Does anybody know where that is? And did we spend the 85,000?
Yeah, I think it was a town, they got a grant, or part of it, they got a grant. I don't know what the full amount was, but that was part of the Woodward and Curran study that I think, Lisa, you scanned. I found a copy of it, one of them. And that went through all of the District A and B and C and D and all that. So it actually went all the way down South Main into North Situate. It had North Situate as a district, Border Street, Minot, and even somewhere up close to Hatherley. So it goes through and lists all those areas. So there was a 3-town effort, and that's what came out of this.
So this is different than the one that's published on our website, the 865 pages, because that was done through a grant for a regional study. That was in 2020. This article approved 85,000 for a Cohasset study on a regional plan.
I think there might have been the town share of the other.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that each one, I think the total cost of this whole thing was about 150 grand.
Okay, so 85,000 would have been our portion towards that 800-page grant piece. Okay,
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't know if all of it was used though.
So it's not really a grant if we had to pay something.
Well, no, but I think it was, I think that we had money, and then we added more to it.
Okay, it could have been a matching grant of some sort of,
Yeah, and this was kind of not ramrodded, but it was managed by Chris and the other town managers of Hull and Situate. So
it was all spent. It could very well be that it wasn't all spent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, and then I'd like to see if you could arrange for the town manager of Situate and the town manager of Cohasset to attend a sewer commission meeting with the three of us, so we can kind of understand from Situate's perspective what it is their challenges are and how we can help.
Who's that addressed to?
I understand that the town manager is.
Oh, no, I know that. Yeah. But I mean, that request, who's it addressed to me?
No.
Yeah, because you're on the committee to meet with them, right?
Yep.
So you meet with them, I don't know, once a month or whenever you meet with them, but.
I wish. But
no.
So I have asked, as part of the non-binding, expression of interest or whatever, to have a meeting. And the answer I got back was, they're busy with town meeting themselves and all of that. And once that gets out of the way, they'll schedule a session with us.
Okay. Yeah, Wayne and I haven't had the opportunity to hear what their issues are and what their resolutions are, which ones they already looked at, said don't work, and why the ones that they think work. Yeah.
And there's a lot of extraneous stuff going on as far as them not really needing us, and I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, if they want to sewer the Gulf using I&I, I'll be dead 700 years and before they get that finished. So I keep asking. So
okay, no problem. I just thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah,
and I'd like to thank you very much, Paul, for bringing up about the Ripley Road, the Sawyer Street Sewer District Connect questions. And Dan, can you tell me whether or not the Sawyer Street is in the district or is not in the district? I believe that it is not in the district.
The majority is not in the district. It stops pretty much at Ripley Road. Although the library is on it and also the senior center. So there's a
No,
little
that
gap.
going down Ripley Road. I'm talking about Sawyer Street. And because, there are the houses at the corner of Sawyer Street at North Main Street are on sewer because they're fronting on North Main Street, even if I don't think they have Sawyer Street addresses. But from that point to Ripley Road, a person came, said that it was in the district at town meeting, and I was getting flustered and didn't think that it was. So I didn't know.
So the distance on Sawyer Street from North Main to Ripley is in question, Wayne?
She was asking about Sawyer Street specifically. She's come before the board before and asked
Right.
about it.
It's about the third house in from North Main Street, right in the middle for that section of Sawyer Street. And then the library and is coming out, and that's at the top of the rise on Ripley Road. But I didn't know, and of course that was for the town, so I'm not sure the district that they had to do it in the district, but they did it to get up to the top of Ripley Road, and it was gravity. The rest of Ripley Road out to North Main Street is not, I don't think, in the district either. And so when we did the senior center, there were a couple of regulations that allowed us to do it. It was, a municipal project or whatever, but that we made the connection where it was going up Ripley Road, not the connection anywhere else. And so we went through the parking lot. So
Basically there is a gap. And it's only those houses that directly abut North Main are in the district. The area further down Sawyer Street going towards Ripley Road, and excluding the library and the senior center, are not in the district.
Okay. Right.
And again, that was because these are the best soils in town. It was always presented that, you don't need to be a sewer connection there, so they were never included.
Totally agree.
Yep. Okay, so that's the decision that was made.
Yeah. And
Okay,
Paul,
so
I'm going to bring back to her with an answer.
Yeah, we actually have district maps that specifically lot by lot depict which ones are in and which ones are out. And I'll send that to you.
Okay. At least we can answer her question for her, right, Wayne?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so are we going to invite Chris Senior and Jim Boudreau to the next sewer meeting or not?
No, they won't. I don't think they'd come. I think I'd like to get Chris to, I'm personally, if we could do an in-person meeting, that I think would be better. And I know, Paul, you've got to travel a while to get down here, but if it's a daytime thing, but
I don't mind. The problem we have is a public meeting if we show up.
yeah, so we would list it as a public meeting. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
But a separate meeting specifically for regional.
Yes.
Yeah. If we had a meeting at 9 a.m.
Yep.
At town hall or wherever, with the three of us and the two of them, and it's open to the public, that we can understand what, Wayne had a lot of questions of, why didn't you, when the train put in this sewer connections in North Situate, why didn't you hook up? Why, what was your decision tree on eliminating things that we think should be there?
Yeah.
Or, so we just need to understand all that, because there's more scuttlebutt than truth out there. So I just want to kind of get to the point where we're all on the communication process, not just one or two people.
No, and I know that, and the reason I think if we did it live, we'd get several members of their select board and the gentleman who runs their sewer plant, which is a meeting that I went to with Corey and with Jack back, months ago. So.
Yeah. So my concern is simply that everyone's talking about sewer, but no one's come to sewer. So.
I got it. I got it.
Very good.
Okay, so I have one more thing, and just it's basically an Hi to everyone. 99 Border Street grinder pump retrofit. I believe it was approved last year that the few that hadn't been retrofitted yet, we were going to retrofit it because they had paid the 125 quarterly fee. And they weren't in a position at the time. I think that the house was still being built and it changed hands, and I think it was abandoned for a little bit. Now they're ready for it. And I got an email from Christian Davis saying that they're ready for the retrofit of the grinder pump.
Who's the owner, Lisa?
I'll have to look that up. I don't know that off the top of my head. This was driven through Christian Davis because they were originally part of the team that were installing them.
Now,
They gave
you
a price
think,
quote of $54.15.
are they able to get it, an E1 pump?
I don't know. I didn't get that far with them. I just, he just asked if it was okay to order it. So probably not.
What's the address?
It's 99 Border Street.
I think it's okay to order it and see what happens.
Yeah.
But they put it in till they're gonna get it, so.
Yeah.
Were they
let's-
ordering it for you, Lisa?
Pardon me?
Were you going to order it for them or?
No, Christian Davis will take care of all that. But he was just giving me the heads up that they're ready for it and asking if it was okay for him to order it for them because they were part of the original retrofit list. And it hadn't been done. And I know
So
that.
that expense is covered by us, that they've already paid, right?
Yes.
Yes, yep.
Right.
The
And there's no
only
guy-
aspect- the only aspect was the town got a better warranty. At least they did at the time the contract was going on. Than what, a person off the street could get. We had a 3-year warranty and I think there was only a 1-year warranty for someone just buying it. But
Well, at this point, the 3 years are up.
Yeah, really, I know.
And everyone else is, yeah. So they're kind of in parallel with us now on warranty. I would say go ahead and order it.
So is
Okay.
the pump still working?
They never used it. The house was being built, or it was already built, but I think they renovated it. And then it was abandoned for a little bit.
Okay. So they just want a new one. Okay.
Yeah, I would say fire away. Anything
Do I
else,
have
guys?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, thank you. I'll second, and do a roll call. Bill McGowan, aye.
All KSI.
Wayne Sawchuck, aye. Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Thank you
guys.
very much, everyone.
All right,
Take
you're
care.
good. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
you know,